Hello there, welcome back to Vintage Story. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm still working on the house. I realized I made a mistake here and I was going to need to lower all of these, which meant breaking them. And then remembered, wait, I'm going to be chiseling them anyway, so I just turned them all into chisel blocks so we can actually pick up the full stone. So yeah, if you're working with rocks, the ones that break into the loose stones when you actually mine them, and you don't mind actually like having them set up to be chiseled, just chisel them before you mine them. That way they don't break on you. So yeah, I gotta do that for all of them and then pick them all up and move them. But I also had to replant our entire farm field twice because on 2 separate nights the temperature dropped below 7. And all of these will get damaged below 5 and the entire field got damaged. So I actually exhausted most of my seeds because when you pick them up, you only have like a 60% chance of getting the seed back. So I wasted a lot of seeds. Not exactly ideal, but you know, that's where we're at right now. And well, I made a lot more plaster and I'm getting this more done. I think I've still got a bit, I mean, obviously I've still got a lot more to do. I've got to figure out 1 or 2 more things. Need to make even more plaster. More quick lime, but I think we're getting there. But as you see, we do have a temporal storm coming to us, so I have limited time before I have to go bunker up again. But I did just want to bring you in, give you a quick update as to our progress on the house. And now I'm gonna go hide. Alright, temporal storm's over, so we're getting back to working on the house. I did just replace all of the clay stone that I had to dig up, but during the rift storm, I made a few shingles. So we need to make a bunch of red clay shingles. So we need 2 doors open. So I've got that door and that door open. And then once we fire these, we're going to be making the slanted shingle roofs, the ridged roofs, and the stairs for the actual build. From my math, based on Charles's build, we need about 330. I have 460-ish, maybe 440 shingles here, so we should have extra, which is fine because then we can start decorating on our own and expanding on our own ideas. But yeah, so we gotta fire those, and then we get back to building this. I definitely need to put a lantern in here because was it Bowtorn and Shivers here just keep spawning every 5 minutes in this building. It's kind of annoying. There you go. Do that. Light it up a little bit. And a suggestion that was in the comment section, which is a absolutely great idea, and I will be doing it, is include a part of the inner courtyard here for our beekeeping. We will be making the Langstroth hives from Golden Combs mod. And so, you know, these are pretty awesome. They are sort of your modern or close to modern beehive where you have the frames that you put in and out and you scrape them off. I used them heavily last season. I'm going to be using them again this season once we actually get bees. So what I can do is we'll have a bit of a vineyard over here, and then we can have some bees set up somewhere else in here. I haven't quite decided where. I don't know if I necessarily want them in the dead center, but you know, maybe this corner will be for the beehives because we don't need many. Two will probably be more than enough because each hive can store 8 frames. Each layer can store 8 frames, and then each frame is the equivalent of a skep, which means 1 Langstroth hive with 1 full set of, wait, is it 8 frames or is it 10 frames? I forget now, but it's the equivalent of at least 8 skeps in one. So you really don't need many Langstroth hives. So do 1 or 2 against the wall here, maybe, and do a nice little flower garden so the bees have plenty of flowers. A vineyard, and then a fruit tree or two in here somewhere. Maybe like a yellow apple tree or something like that. I like pears. Maybe I'll put pears in here also. I've got plenty of pear saplings over there, so there are plenty of pear trees around I can use. I also like cherries. Maybe I should do pears and cherries. Be an interesting combo. But that's where we are now. I have all the peat under here, so we can just light this up, make sure the door's closed. Yep. And then we will have all of our all of our red clay shingles up and firing. And then we can start actually building some more. I need to go get a lot more chalk though, since we are out of chalk to make limestone. So that's our next task. We gotta go over... I had it marked. Over here? Yeah, over here. We have chalk. And since it is now spring, all the snow's melting so we can actually see what's on the ground, which is nice. I tell ya, the beehive kiln here makes making these clay shingles so much easier. I would have needed something like 20 pit kilns to make all these shingles, and instead I barely used... If I stack these all up, I would have used 1/9 of the capacity of the beehive kiln. But we're ready to move on to to roofing this. I still need to make more quick lime. I'm just about out. But you can see the shape we're going with. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. It happens often. We want to do this, make a whole bunch of the slanted shingles. We need far more than this. Well, we can get started with 100. Scroll will go all the way up to the top, so gotta place some of this down and then work our way across. I did get all the clay stone down for the inner bits, and you can see it on the map. It looks pretty cool like that. That, of course, is going to be its own structure. There's going to be a walkway over top of that, so we'll see how that turns out. And then for these, we're going to have it there and coming over the edges also. And then the top is going to get some of the ones that are made by doing that. No, come back. Ow. Now, one of the things I don't have yet, and it's going to take a while to get, I think, is the ebony wood. I don't need to use ebony per se, but it does look really good with the white of the plaster. So, you know, the whole ebony and ivory kind of thing going on. So I guess for now I'll use oak, and then when we get our hands on ebony, I'll start swapping stuff out. How did I do that wrong twice? And we lost that one also. And that hurt. Anyway, you see what we're going with here. We're going to have a nice red shingled roof on either side. This part's going to get a red shingled roof, and that's going to get a roof also. And then we can move on, once I've made more plaster, to finishing the rest of this. So while we're waiting for a few more resources to process, there were a couple suggestions of things I can do with helping automate the quern and the pulverizer. First off, we don't need that hopper, or at least we shouldn't. A chest will work. I wonder if a reed chest will also work. Let's grab a bit of stone from over here quickly. And this should pull. Yes, it does. Okay, so we can just use a chest or in this case, reed chest or a wooden chest on top of the chute, and the chute will pull directly out of it and, of course, transfer into this hopper. Which, if we had a chest under there, it'd go into the chest. Otherwise, we could just use the hopper output. with this, we tried last time hoppering and shooting directly in, and it does input into the quern. We know that works. What was recommended I can try is two things. So we're going to stop this for a moment and break it. And we're going to break that one as well. So the first suggestion was that we put a chute directly underneath where the quern is going to go. And I'm going to put a chest down for it to output into, since that should work. I picked that up. That didn't work. And then what we can do is take some packed dirt, put that down there, and then build up sides around everywhere else. So we can put the quern down right here. That there. And then once we get up here... No, we can't do it that way. If we remove that, the quern will fall on top of the chute. Alright. Means we put this back in the right location. Now if we put some stuff in here, will it pull out? It does not look like it will pull out. Yeah, so that does not work. That was worth testing. And from what I was told, the hopper also will not really work that way either. We put that down, hopper into the back of it. That might hopper into it. No, doesn't matter. We just need the hopper down for the purposes of placing blocks right now. So, go and do the same thing we just did. Okay, so now hopper's on the... Sorry, the quern is on the hopper and it does not pull out. So, that does not work. The third option that was recommended... We gotta clean all this up first. The third option is going to be very much like what I have here. We have 3 sets of packed dirt surrounding where the hopper is, because sometimes when the stuff comes out of the pulverizer, it winds up on the corner of the block, and so it doesn't get picked up by the hopper. So putting these dirt sort of funnels it into the hopper. So if we put a stick in the output slot there, when the quern processes down something, it will eject the product out of the quern, and it will wind up on the ground. Okay, that time it didn't actually process it. It's supposed to. There we go. Now it popped out and I picked it up. We put a hopper here. And do that. When the quern is done, it should eject it out and it should go into the hopper. You know what I think is happening? It's trying to eject the item, not finding a spot, and so it just starts over again. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that's what's happening. Okay, let's work this out. Which way does it want to eject? Because it looks like it's trying to eject in a certain direction each time, and when it fails, it then starts over again. Okay. That's clearly... Okay, let's do it this way. So this is going to be the third time it tries to eject. So this might eject in any number of directions. Okay, ejected to the... What is that? To the north. And this time it will eject to the east. And the wind is slowing down. And now it's speeding back up. And this time it went south. Is it going to do each cardinal direction one at a time? Yeah, okay. So it did each of the different cardinal directions once. So it should now be towards me this time. Yep, okay. So, that's a little inconvenient, but that does mean it is predictable. What we need to do is make 4 hoppers, and we could put 1 hopper on each of the 4 corners. And as it's done, it will eject the item. It will go towards one of the 4 corners in order, where we can pick it up and then move on. Then we can use chutes and funnel them all into one output chest. Okay, well, that means we've at least worked out how it works. Went north, east, south, and then west. Well, it's going to be a lot more copper. I need to go find it. I have plenty of copper deposits already discovered. I just actually have to process them. And I'm freezing because it's raining and it's still cold out. Alright, well, at least we figured that out. And of course, before we go, if I take this chute and this, I don't want that facing down. I want it facing up. There we go. And then if I do that, it will output directly in. So yes, we can automate this. If I have the hopper here, or the chute here, it might not be able to hopper out that way. So I might only need 3 hoppers. Like I said, that's a little more testing, and it works logically. I just wish I could kind of work it better. I mean, I could probably figure out a way to only use one chute only use one hopper by using water sources to push the items like you would in Minecraft. Yeah, we'll figure that out at a later point. For now, let's warm up. So a few episodes ago, I mentioned I added the Sammiches mod. It is a mod to make sandwiches. So how about we take a moment now and do a quick cooking with Arkwolf segment, and we'll experiment with the sandwiches, see what we can't make. First off, we need bread. So we've got 2 loaves of rye and a bit of chicken cooking up in the oven. While that cooks, we have to make a cutting board. To do that, we put any board in our crafting grid and it becomes a cutting board. We can then place it down, and at this point, we're ready for the bread. We just need to wait for it to finish cooking. The mod does include a bread knife. To do this, we need any knife blade. I've got a flint blade here, but we also need a slice of bread. How do we get bread without the bread knife? Well, we can use a sword or a knife to cut the bread. The bread's ready, so now we just place it on the cutting board and right click with our knife, and we get 4 slices of bread. And now we can place the slices on the cutting board and start building our sandwich. And now that we've got some slices of bread, let's make that bread knife. Flint knife blade, stick, and a slice of bread in the crafting grid, and pull it out. And it does use up the slice of bread. A sandwich can have up to 6 ingredients on it, 2 of those being the slices of bread, but we can put cheese, meat, vegetables, even fruit spreads on it. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, we only have a bit of veggies and the chicken, so we're going to see about how to build it that way. I was under the impression I had to slice everything separately and then add it to the sandwich. But the puffballs we added straight away. Okay, we have to slice the turnip. We can't slice the chicken. Nope. Oh, we'll just put it right on. Alright, so 2 slices of rye bread, some puffballs, some sliced turnips, and some chicken. Not exactly a delicious sounding sandwich. Let's see, 135 grain, 225 veggies, and 160 protein. That's 220, 385, 485, 520? 520 total nutrition. We are missing 1 additional ingredient we could put on it. So you figure 620-ish for a full sandwich at the minimum. And let's see if we can put on a shelf. Yep, good. Ooh, it's actually a pretty good timer on it. All right, well, we're gonna have to make more of these in the future, especially once I actually get some cheese going. And you can actually make hamburgers. So yeah, that's something I want to make in the future too. I think we reached a good point to end for today. I've got the shingled roofs done. I am going to, as I said, make this portion here, which is where the claystone is going to be covered, and there's going to be a walkway running from the top of that building over into this doorway here, which will lead inside. We have probably going to be a storeroom in there. I have a room in here which will have a staircase going up and down. We have a bit of a patio out here, which I'll spruce up. And if we take this impromptu staircase down until I get the rest of it done, you know, we've got this here, which will have a staircase up. There'll be a staircase down. There'll be more plaster for like posts and whatnot. And then, yep, we got the inside, and then this will lead downstairs into the cellar. And in here's where the kitchen's gonna be. And right now, this is all packed dirt because it's not gonna collapse on me when I dig under it. So that's that done. I did also replace a bit of the outer wall with some claystone cobblestone because this is all gonna be chiseled down. Now, in Charles's video, all the outer walls had claystone and a plaster on top and were chiseled down to be narrow, be pretty narrow. I'm gonna do the same and make these narrow. But since this section here is all, you know, outer wall to a building, and then this is all gonna be an outer wall with a roof over it, none of this is gonna be chiseled down. So it's only the outer wall in this corner which is gonna be narrow. So farm's coming along, house is coming along. I think it's a good place to end for today. So, thank you for joining me today. Hope you've all had a wonderful day. Thank you to my channel members for your support. And I'll see you all next time. Later. Should be this.